Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about Maggie from The Walking Dead. Now, not really spoilers, I guess, but if you haven't watched the newest episode, I really don't think it matters. We might talk a little bit about it, but spoilers, it doesn't really matter. This was the last episode for Maggie. We were told over and over again she was allowed to come back with her new gig on Whiskey Cavaliers. It's a new TV show. She was going to come back and do 6 episodes. Well, they just confirmed after the episode that this was, in fact, Maggie's final episode. It was her final appearance for now, they say, which doesn't really leave us fans, especially fans of Maggie, doesn't really leave us all that excited. I mean, yes, was it a good interaction between her and Negan? Yes, I mean, fine, but just the fact that there's nothing following, I would have assumed when they did the time skip at the end of 905, we would have a scene between Maggie and Jesus, and we would show her after the time skip, and then by the end of the episode, she would have left to meet up with Georgie, and the story would play out in her absence. However, that's not the case. She is officially gone. I don't even remember the last time we seen her on the show. I think she was at the bridge holding a crying Michonne, if I remember correctly. Which I did like that because it's the complete reverse of Michonne holding a crying Maggie, who was furious that Rick was going to keep Negan alive. However, it doesn't look bright, but there is a chance she could actually return for season 10. Season 10. There was a recent interview, which before that interview, I was very hopeful. But during that interview, it was a little bit of a frustrating interview because Lauren Cohan talked about, and again, it was frustrating because she couldn't come out and just be blunt. She can't just talk to the fans like she talks to her friends and family. She has to keep relations between AMC, and she has to keep a professional, attitude during these. It's usually once years go by, actors and cast and crew, they get a little more comfortable talking about the facts and what really went down, or if somebody's writing a book. But for right now, she needs to keep it, at least keep the peace. And what I mean by that is when she was asked about how did this all happen where you were leaving the show and you weren't coming back, she said, well, we went in for discussions and they didn't seem as interested to take me back as I thought, and it really opened my mind. And what she's talking about is the money, the pay, the salary. We don't know how much she wanted. We don't know if she wanted way too much. We don't know if she just wanted what she deserved and AMC stonewalled her and was like, no, you're not worth that much. But from the sound of it, excuse me, it's pretty simple that she wanted X amount of money. AMC was like, no, we're not going to bite on that. And then after a few episodes, she left, got a gig at Whiskey Cavalier, which she locked down before she started filming, I believe. And if Whiskey Cavalier does, great. It's airing in 2019. If it does, fantastic. It looks like she's never coming back, or at least not for a long while. However, they explain her gone, and I believe it's going to be with the last letter. We don't know what was in it. Maggie didn't read it while we were there. She likely read it after Rick's incident on the bridge, and she finally made it back to the hilltop. So whatever was in that letter is going to be revealed to be the reason why she left. Maybe she's, I don't know, an ambassador going to a community Georgie set up, and she's trying to link her community with the hilltop. But it's just kind of disappointing when you read not just the interview, but how it really sounded like this might actually not happen. Again, if Whiskey Cavalier does great, it doesn't seem like there's any chance for her to return. But depending on how they write her off temporarily, she could always return for season 11. She could always cross over, which seems like a stretch, into the movies, the Walking Dead movies. But I kind of feel like this was a bit of a whimper. I kind of feel bad that the Maggie character, there's so much promise and potential there. It kind of went out like a whimper and it was overshadowed by Rick's exit. And here, the reason why everyone was so focused on Rick and not Maggie, even myself, is because the way it sounded was, oh, Maggie's, they had a contract dispute, but Maggie's coming back. But Rick is gone. And even, for me with the Rick thing, I was bouncing back and forth between, was he really going? But it seems like he is. AMC's making it seem like he's really going. So, what's going on? With Maggie, it was like, it's fine. She's going to miss out on a few episodes, but she'll be back in season 10. Now it just doesn't feel like that. It does feel like if that's how her story ends, that's a terrible, terrible ending. I wish they can resolve this somehow. I personally don't think Whiskey Cavalier looks all that great. I think she does have a promising future. She's absolutely got talent. She has charisma. If Whiskey Cavalier doesn't work, she could definitely find work. There's other things she can do. I just hope that whatever happened behind the scenes, they could put that to rest and at least finish out the Maggie character. But it was just my thoughts and opinions about this whole topic because something just rubbed me the wrong way with it. This being the final episodes that we know of so far for the Maggie character. The last surviving green, we saw a little hallucination of what looked like Beth in 905 with the dead bodies, but this is the last green, and we got Herschel in 905, which was freaking awesome, but the last living green, and I'm assuming since Maggie's gone, baby Herschel's gone as well. I'd be surprised if she was gone and he was still on. He's definitely aged a few years by now, but it just doesn't sit right with me. You guys give me your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm making this video because this is a complete shock to me. I thought, like I said, they were going to have her in 906 and she was going to peace out and go meet Georgie and we'd at least see a little bit of her and she'd have a little more storyline. But it doesn't look like that's the case. So put your thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.